Hi, this is Ashley back with another reading, and this reading is going to be on how Billy Ray Cyrus and Miley Cyrus's godfather slash uncle feel about Nicki Minaj. Now, I'm going to refrain from mentioning the godfather's name because I think he's still an executive. I know he used to work at Disney. I don't know if he still works there, but just in case. Before we get into the reading, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on post notifications and also follow my second channel, Soul Tea Ash Miracle. I will have the link in the description box, or I might do a pinned comment, okay? So yeah, let's get into it. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Like I said before, that's very important. So we're going to start off with Billy Ray Cyrus. How does Billy Ray Cyrus feel about Nicki Minaj? Billy Ray Cyrus. How does he feel about Nicki Minaj? Okay, so we do have the Queen of Swords in here. This is in reverse. This talks about somebody that's viewed as cold-hearted. You know, the B word, okay? Somebody that's viewed as impulsive, thinks on the fly, does things, and don't think about the consequences. So that's how he views Nicki Minaj, somebody that's cold-hearted, doesn't really think about the consequences, okay? So we do have the Ace of Cups in reverse. This talks about, you know, opportunities being stopped, okay? So we all know what happened between, you know, Miley and Nicki Minaj and how that affected her career. So the opportunities being stopped, that's definitely in the cards, okay? We do also have, you know, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. This talks about financial opportunities. It talks about, you know, career opportunities also being stopped, okay, when it's in reverse. So it seems as though he knows that because of that whole situation with Miley Cyrus, some of Nicki's bags have been stopped, okay? And it doesn't really look like he's remorseful about it, okay? The Hierophant card, this talks about somebody that is viewed as somebody that's challenging. So he views Nicki as challenging, always going against the grain, not doing what she's supposed to be doing, or not acting how she's supposed to be acting, okay? The Hierophant, this represents challenging the status quo in reverse. So, you know, that whole, you know, Nicki being blackballed, there's no, I feel bad about that. It's almost like, well, you were doing something that you had no business doing. You were challenging the status quo. You were doing things that, you know, were against the grain, and now you have to suffer the consequences. That's the energy I'm picking up on. The Knight of Swords in reverse has to put up a fight, okay? Things are not going to be easy for her because of what happened. And there's really no, oh, I feel bad. It's almost like you have to pay for what you did, the consequences of everything, okay? So that's how he really feels about Nicki Minaj, okay? Let's see how Nicki Minaj feels about Billy Ray Cyrus. How does Nicki Minaj feel about Billy Ray Cyrus? Nicki Minaj, how does she feel about Billy Ray Cyrus? Okay, so we have the Moon card. This has given Nicki some sort of fear or anxiety, okay? This whole thing happening with the Yo Miley What's Good incident, and then her basically being blackballed, this has given her some anxiety, okay? The Moon card represents anxiety, fear, sadness. So this has greatly affected her. We also have the Seven of Swords. This talks about being deceitful. This talks about being sneaky. That's how she views Billy Ray, like somebody that's sneaky, deceitful, does things that is underhanded, okay? That's the energy that I'm picking up on. The Ace of Wands. This talks about still being successful and also extending the olive branch. There was a time where she was cool with Miley even after the fact. You know, an olive branch was extended. And this also kind of talks about her still being able to kind of push through. Okay, still being resilient. Okay, that's the energy that I'm picking up on. So she feels like she's still resilient. She's still able to kind of push through in her career. And she feels like, you know, I did extend an olive branch to Miley after the fact. Okay, it wasn't when they told her to, but she did after the fact. But, you know, we all know what happened after that when Miley said, "Oh, sorry, Nicki, but I'd rather listen to Cardi," or something like that. Then, you know, they fell out again. But she feels like, well, I did extend an olive branch, okay? We also have the Knight of Cups. This talks about somebody that's viewed as impulsive. She feels like, you know, they didn't even really listen to her side of the story. They didn't understand how she felt, you know, when Miley said those things in the magazine. She felt like, you know, people were up against her for no reason. So she feels like it was kind of impulsive what they did. Okay. We also have the Temperance card. This talks about making life choices, making decisions that you know that are not always good. And so when it comes to Nicki Minaj, she feels like she had to make a choice and she decided not to apologize when they asked her to. And also she felt like, you know, she has to live with the consequences of going up against a family like the Cyruses, okay? That's how she feels. She has to make a choice. She had to make a decision, and she chose to kind of take a different route and stand up for herself, okay? So she understands that there's going to be consequences. She does feel like it has greatly affected her career, okay? Let's go on to the Godfather. Or uncle. I think it's an uncle / Godfather, whatever. Same thing. How does not Nicki Minaj, how does Miley Cyrus's Godfather / uncle, the one that called Birdman, how does he feel about Nicki Minaj? Okay, so we have the Three of Pentacles. This talks about teamwork. So he feels like he made calls. This is the energy of making calls and basically trying to get rid of someone. The Three of Pentacles represents teamwork, collaboration. So he made calls. He knows that he did, and he feels no remorse about it either. The Three of Pentacles, this talks about teamwork. I'm going to make everyone go against you, okay? We also have the Eight of Swords in reverse. This talks about victim blaming. He feels like Nicki pretends like she's the victim, okay? The Eight of Swords represents victim blaming, negative thoughts, contemplation. So he feels like, you know, she always pretends like she's the victim. That's how he feels. We also have the Ten of Wands. He feels like Nicki is a burden. Okay, he feels like the whole situation was a burden to him. He didn't really want to make the calls to people like, oh, not to mess with Nicki, but he feels like, you know, the same thing with Billy Ray, like you have to learn your lesson. And then the Chariot card in reverse, this talks about using your power for bad, using your status for bad, doing things underhanded. So the energy that I'm getting is that he also doesn't really feel bad for what happened to Nicki. It's almost like you had to learn your lesson and you were pretending to be the victim, okay? So let's see how Nicki feels about the situation. Actually, let me see this. Why did Miley Cyrus's uncle / Godfather call Birdman? Why did Miley Cyrus's uncle / Godfather call Birdman? Okay, so it's almost like he wanted to resolve the conflict, the issues. The Five of Wands, it talks about conflict, different disagreements. He wanted to resolve it, okay? He wanted an apology, okay? The Four of Swords, this situation kind of stressed Miley out. He wanted Miley to feel content. He didn't want her to feel upset, okay? The Seven of Cups, this talks about having a lot of resources. This talks about having a lot of different opportunities, okay? And he took some of those opportunities away from Nicki, okay? So it's almost like, I'm gonna give you a chance to make this right, okay? The Two of Cups, him and Birdman were on the same page. Birdman wanted Nicki to apologize. The Two of Cups, this talks about harmony, being on the same page. So it was almost like, you know, tell her to apologize. Birdman wanted her to do the same thing, okay? And it was over conflict, okay? He didn't want Miley to feel upset. You know, that is the person that he loves, okay? So it's almost like to resolve an issue. That's why he called Birdman, because he wanted to resolve the issue. And Birdman at the time was in charge of Cash Money, Young Money Records. Now I think it was Wayne, but we all know Wayne basically got rid of that. There's really no Young Money anymore. He done sold everything, so. Anyway, let's move on to, how does Nicki Minaj feel about Miley Cyrus's godfather / uncle, the one that called Birdman, for her to apologize? How does she feel about the godfather / uncle, the one that called Birdman? Okay, so she feels like he definitely affected her career. The Four of Wands, just talks about being unsuccessful. So she feels like he definitely affected her career. The Queen of Wands, she has to take things into her own hands, be independent, you know, take things in her own hands, work alone. She felt like she had to kind of really depend on herself. She really couldn't even depend on her team. Okay, we also have the Ten of Swords. Feels like a lot of people turned their backs on her because of Billy Ray Cyrus and the Godfather / uncle, okay? And then we have the Eight of Cups in reverse. This is talks about when somebody kind of withdraws from, you know, a situation. So it's almost like mentally she has removed herself from the situation. She really doesn't really discuss it anymore, but it does like weigh heavy on her like subconscious, because it kind of really affected her career, but she doesn't really want to think about it, okay? She just wants to move forward. Okay, and I don't really get that they will make amends completely. I feel like there's always going to be some sort of issue, okay, because it's like the damage is already done. Okay, so if you like this quick reading, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on post notifications. This reading was strictly for entertainment purposes only, and I hope you have a great day.